What's up, everybody? It's your boy Showtimedr. I'm back. So I wanted to put out a guild battle guide. So guild battle guide. In the midst of it right now, there'll be some auto going on, then I'll show you a little bit more of the particulars after the fight's over. But what's going to happen in a guild battle is you're going to go into the map, and there is going to be up to 5 spawns, depending on how far you get, of random mobs, and then the last spawn's going to be full of hero mobs, so it should be the hardest. Now, as you clear these mobs, if you are on any of the 3 lower level maps, every time you clear one of those packs, it's going to be 1%, I believe it is, because the total you can get on the lower level maps is 5% domination. Domination is something we'll go into later, but that's for every member. Now, so let's say you kill 4 packs and then you kill a couple of people from the 5th pack and either time runs out or you die, whatever happens, then you're probably going to get 4-point-something percent, 4.25, 4.3, whatever, domination for that team. Now, all of your guild members are going to be doing this too, in theory. We all know in execution that doesn't necessarily happen. But in theory, so that if you have a guild of 50 or close to 50 people, you know, like let's say at least, let's say 40 people do it in a day and they do it twice. Well, you know, not everyone's going to full clear every map, so we'll give it 2.5%, right? So 2.5% times 40 should be, in theory, 80% domination of, you know, they're probably going to be running multiple maps, but you are going to need to dominate 500% in order to get the whole thing cleared. So 80%, 500% every 2 days, you know, 240% in 3 days. Now, the guild leader, and it's up to your discretion, guild leader, whether you want to reset the dungeon every 3 days or not, because you can reset it up to twice a week. The argument for resetting it that often is that you get a clean slate, and there's more stuff to do easier, and there's bonus rewards once you clear, or excuse me, once you reset the dungeon, like everyone in the guild gets extra rewards. What I would tell you is only do that if you are not close to getting at least 20% total domination clear. And anything that is a multiple of 20%, because every 20% you also get a bonus reward. The entire guild gets the bonus reward, and it's a lot of the guild currency, which translates to the guild shop, which I'll be showing you guys after this is over. But the guild shop, you can basically buy, there's rune packs there, but the best thing to get is the level 35 and 40 class enhancement materials. And there's also some basic class advancement materials. You can buy, I believe the 35 and 40 is limited to 10 per week. And I'm hoping eventually they'll add the higher tier stuff. I don't know if that has to be like average guild level, or is that just something that's going to be unlocked over the course of time. Not sure right now, guys, but so that's my advice there. But in the beginning, especially if you have a guild like mine where we got 20-some people, yeah, just go ahead and reset it every 3 days, because you want to get the bonus rewards out so that people can buy more stuff and they can strengthen their teams accordingly in a more efficient manner. Now, when you select what level your dungeon is, there's 5 difficulties. Difficulty starts at easy. Easy goes from level 30 to 40. And I believe the hardest one, from what I've seen, actually goes from 55 to 65. These are different points on the map. So it's going to be every 2 levels. So 50, let's say you do the highest one, 55 to 65. I assume that's the highest one, because that's what I've seen as far as it's 5 levels per difficulty, but maybe it jumps, I don't know. But so what's going to spawn is there's going to be a 55, a 57, and a 59 dungeon. Is that right? No, it's probably 55, 57, 60, then like 62 and or 63 and 65, something like that. So there's going to be 2 higher end dungeons, and there's going to be 2 lower end dungeons. So what's going to happen there is when you do the higher level dungeons, if you manage to get a full clear on a higher level dungeon, it's going to be 3%. But if you do one of the lower dungeons, it's going to be 5% total domination, assuming you can get a full clear. Now, clearly full clear, that's pretty tall order, especially for newer players, but even depending on what your difficulty is, even some higher end players have issues with that, so... so let's see, what were the other points? Oh yeah, so... when you decide to go in these dungeons, there is going to be the option to do solo attack or multi-attack, just like in all like the Anarchy dungeon, etc. Do team attack as much as you guys possibly can, because there's a mechanic there that is going to benefit basically everybody if they can do it. So you might have noticed that when you select a crew for these dungeons, a lot of the times it'll say like strengthened or buffed or whatever the hell by their names. Well, what happens there is, in fact, you know what, I think we can actually show it off now. That was a full clear, by the way. So, but of course, I forget what dungeon it was, but it was probably like the level 30 something dungeon. So hold on, I'll show you guys once we get out of here. But what you're going to be looking for is at the character select screen, there will be a moniker that will basically say, hey, you know, this character is buffed. Like you can see here, the power up. So let's say I'm going to do, this character is buff, and you see how it has the different factions here. So Meteor Strike, that's a faction that's coming later. Empire's Honor is stronger at this one. And etc. Legion of Glory over here. Now these are your two higher level towers that I was talking about. So they're going to have the rainbow ores rewards, so most people are probably going to want to run those as long as they're strong enough. But let's take this one for example. So let's say I had a good Meteor Strike team. I decide to come in here. And then it's going to show you that people of that faction are buffer in this dungeon. Now, when it says power up, what it's telling you is there is a 40% buff to intelligence and attack. So these characters, like let's say I ran these guys, are going to have 40% more total stats as far as attack and intelligence goes. Now, you might be saying, yeah, but I don't run such and such character, or I don't run such and such faction. I understand, because obviously the upgrade mats in this game are finite as far as levels and classes, etc., troops. But consider, especially if you're running double faction like you should be, consider having at least one buffer for every faction. Because what's going to happen is, even if those characters, like all these characters, aren't leveled to your satisfaction as far as where you want to get them, they're still going to hit 40% harder. So what you can do is, you can take like one or two of them, including the faction buffer, and then surround them with your stronger characters. And then all you have to do is take your gear off, like let's say I wanted to use Baird, right? Well, I just take my gear off my Leon and I put on Baird for a battle, because Leon's gear is obviously going to be way better than Baird's, or whoever your horseman, flyer, archer, swordman, etc. that is your buffest unit. Take their gear, give it to one of these faction guys, and even though you don't necessarily invest so much in these characters, they're still going to contribute, they're still going to hit hella hard, they just need a team around them in order to help them facilitate that. I hope you guys get what I mean. So now, let me go back out. Retreat out here. Oh, by the way, guys, another point to make before I get to my next point. When you use a team, you can only use them once per day, regardless of whether they die or live. And then you have to go use another team. So that's another reason to have two factions going. But so, you see here team attack. So what happens with team attack? Now, clearly, you would have to invite people from the guild, and I haven't pre-registered or anything, or pre-told my guild that, hey, we're going to be running this at this time right now. But what happens in a team battle is there's still 6 people. Everyone gets 2. So in that case, what you need to do is select 2 people from that faction. And the advantage is, if you got a unit that's going to be particularly effective in these dungeons, well, your guild members can bring that same unit and say, like, another unit from the faction. Until you have, like, you could have, like, let's say, if Luna was really good, 3 Lunas, you know, a tank, and then maybe a caster and a swordsman, or whatever floats your boat, guys. So keep that in mind as well. And that is also going to help with as far as turning characters over, because you're only using 2 versus using 6 for your solo attack. So if you have 2 really buff characters from a certain faction, you can change their gear, yada yada, like I told you before. Then hey, you get the 40% power-up buff, you get the buff from all the gear, you got the faction buff, hopefully. Someone on your team has the faction buff, and you can just destroy whatever gets in your way, so always consider that stuff, guys. Now, what I was talking about earlier with the guild battle rewards, you know, you get personal points, so this is the currency you're going to spend in the shop, which I went over earlier. And then the 20% domination thing I was telling you about with the guild leaders. If you're close to 20%, you know, you got a guild full of 50 people and they run it at least once a day, then cool, try to get 40%, 60%, etc. until you can clear it. But otherwise, you should reset every 3 days like I was talking about. I actually told my guild I'm going to reset this tomorrow. But so, let's go to Guild Store. This is what I was talking about earlier. So here's your basic class materials. You get the 35 and 40, limit 10 per week. You also get 1 runestone, which I did forget to mention. Runestone, you can switch out your character's classes for free, basically. Well, not for free, but basically for free. And then you got some rune collectors, which, to be honest, I've never even looked at. Oh, okay, yeah, these are the things for upgrading your gear, actually. So, get your gear from, like, say, level 10 to level 20, level 30, etc. So, might need to get some here if you're running low on stamina or whatever. And that's pretty much it, guys, for your guild event, so... Your guild event guide. Now, I wanted to go over a couple announcements with you guys. I know a lot of you guys, you've been commenting, oh, you're not making Langrisser M videos. Well, I got 2 reasons, and I'll give them to you. I am going to make more Langrisser M videos, but I'm on the fence about character guides. I'll probably still do them, but I'll get more into that later. Number 1, I have gotten a radio, the local radio station. One of the head reps actually walked into where I was working and said, we could use you. So I've been spending a lot of time trying to see if I could get a job there, because if I can, you know, my wages go up basically 60%, so that's pretty freaking significant out here. But then or 30% actually, I shouldn't say 60. Well, yeah, whatever, I don't want to do the math. Anyways, it's a lot more. And then number 2, so I had something happen on my Luna guide video that pissed me off. There was a guy that commented, in fact I'll show you guys, because I've recently gotten Luna, I got her yesterday, she's on my, in my roster now, there she is. So a guy told me, because I went under the premise of the gear, in the video rather, in Meta Hub, they were like, oh yeah, this buffs magic damage, her passive, and then when I went to Langrisser Wiki, it basically said this, and I went to a couple other places. So then I was looking at her kit, and I'm like, well, it would make no sense for her to buff magic damage, like it's probably buffing damage reduction against magic damage, because when you get her high enough, I believe this goes to 20%, her magic defense increase, personal. And then friendly units, blocks, this goes to 30%. Less magic damage. So I went under this premise, and I guessed correctly. And some guy commented on the video, oh man, you got it wrong, man. No, she actually buffs magic damage. Yeah, man, oh man, you got it wrong. And he swore to me up and down. I'm like, dude, really? Like, because if you don't have the hero, you can't really tell unless someone's willing to give you screenshots and stuff, which I think I'm gonna start doing from now on, because all of the websites that I've gone to, including Zong Games' own website, have terrible, terrible, terrible translations. Which makes me laugh when people are like, well, why don't you just go to the guides on the websites? Yeah, like, because they're translated poorly, that's why. So I had a trolling me about that on one of my other videos, but so, and then I got her, and then I read this, and I got instantly like super pissed off because I'm like, okay, so either that guy was trolling me, or he literally did not know and decided to pretend like he knew, and you know that kind of thing just pisses me off. So, because everyone, you know. There's one mistake on a guide and everyone turns into the gotcha, actually, gotcha. And if you're friendly about it, that's cool. But, you know, I've run into my fair share of jerks doing this, so it gets really annoying. So it gets to the point where it's like, guys, I'm writing this to help you. Like, you guys are acting like I'm trying to sign you up for some scam or something, so... Whatever, so I'll go back to character guides eventually, but I wanted to put out a different guide this time. And... yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with right now, but... anywho, that's that for now. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide, and I will... oh, I guess I'll do a promo. Yo, I'm Showtimedr. Showtimedr. You found my YouTube. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Also, check out my title info under the video. There's going to be a link to my Twitch, link to my Discord. If you don't know what those are by now, well... I hope you're, like, completely new to the internet, so... Probably gonna stream this later on tonight, so... anyways, guys, have a good night. Hopefully I helped you out. Peace.